NCCU, your community financial partner, brings to you Beyond the Mortgage.
Affordable rates, affordable price. NCCU, everything nice. Go do a course, go take a trip. Beyond the mortgage, 246. You take the mortgage already. To make your pocket go empty. Beyond the mortgage, NCCU will keep you steady. You need to buy a new fridge. You want to purchase a city. Get rid of medical bills and invest in the green energy. Beyond the mortgage, beyond the mortgage, beyond the mortgage. Everything nice. Beyond the mortgage, beyond the mortgage, beyond the mortgage. NCCU for life. 246, yes, 246. Wow, 246.
Beyond the Mortgage, 2% savings, 4% retirement solutions, loans available at 6%, and our special BTM line of credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Heal & Go is an all-natural hair care and skincare company founded in 2021 by our CEO, Jael Burney. Just a girl looking for natural products to enhance her hair and skin, Heal & Go was born. Heal & Go started with the Shea Rosemary Hair Moisturizer, the flagship item, which is every girl's dream of a moisture-locking, detangling hair dressing. This can be used when braiding the hair or twisting the hair. The African Black Soap Shampoo made with African Black Soap and Marshmallow Root is a deep cleansing shampoo. It is coupled also with the Aloe Vera Leave-In Conditioner, which is made of aloe vera, coconut oil, and it is the hydrating ingredient needed when keeping up a wash and go. Our next item is the Revitalizing Scalp Treatment, which is made of 13 different essential and carrier oils to enhance the scalp, help with scalp issues, and also help with hair growth. We added items like rose water to our line, and rose water can be used on the hair and on the skin. On the hair as a refresher and on the skin as an astringent or helping with makeup. Other items include the hair jelly, which helps with keeping the edges intact and keeping away frizz from the hair. We also have hydrating hair milk, which is like a moisturizer for the hair. And all these items can be found in bundles on our website, or they are also sold separately in different sizes to enhance your varying hair care needs.
Welcome, guys. Welcome. I guess third time's the charm, right? Third time must be the charm. Welcome. We are tuned in and connected to exclusive interviews with yours truly, Jael Joseph. I am going to be joined by Anthony Tony Davidson Edwards. I use all his government names. We're going to be joined by him in just a little bit. So glad to have you guys join me. Make sure you share the live. I am so interested to know about this young man, and I want to know his story. Like, I've heard little bits and pieces of it, at different events and so on. But I'm really interested to know his entire story. I want to know how he got started with Shop DM. Do you guys know about Shop DM? Do you know about Shop DM? If you know about Shop DM, drop a heart, below. But I'm interested to know about him and how he got his start and a little bit about his background. He is an entrepreneur and he's going to be joining us today on exclusive interviews. Of course, this show is powered by Black Island Girl Multimedia. We're sponsored by the National Cooperative Credit Union. So the National Cooperative Credit Union has a community forecast that's going on where with radio crawls, member sale madness, there's loan education day, and so many other things. You can join the community forecast for a chance to win your path to financial freedom. And that's going on throughout the month of March, as well as their Beyond the Mortgage, which continues at the National Cooperative Credit Union. And this is also sponsored by Heal & Go. Currently, their products are being carried at Fresh Market. So you can get the revitalizing scalp treatment oil in the 2 ounces. You can get the African black soap shampoo in 2 ounces. You can get the aloe cocoa live-in conditioner, the aloe and cucumber melon edge control. You can get the gentle makeup remover, face scrub, hydrating face moisturizer, uh, and much more. So check out Fresh Market Health Beauty and Cosmetics upstairs for the Heal and Go line. Well, she's a local, she's Dominican, so I could say local product. And it's right now available at Fresh Market. All right, and also ask the fans the right place, the right price. Thank you very much, guys, for your sponsorship. I truly appreciate you. And if you'd like to get on board, you can always do so at any time. You can reach out to us, send us a direct message, and someone will be sure to reach back out to you. I want to say good evening to the folks who are on YouTube, those on LinkedIn, those who are on Facebook. If you're viewing via Jael Joseph Live, Jael Joseph, or Black Island Girl, good evening to you and welcome to the show. I am I'm ready. Are you ready, guys? Are you ready for tonight's special guest? So I want to say thank you again to all of you who've tuned in over the last couple of hours. We've had back-to-back shows today. We got to speak with Cassie Birmingham. We got to hang out with Patricia Bibier. And we're hanging out with Anthony. So we've had a singer, a film director, and now we have an entrepreneur joining us right here on today's show. So let us get into it and let's welcome, for the first time on our show, a special good evening and hello to Anthony.
Hey,
Hello.
evening, Jael, and evening to your viewers. Thank you for having me here. I'm gonna do my best to answer any questions.
You gonna do your best, sweet?
Yeah, gonna do my best.
All right. I hope that they're seeing you okay because on my end, you're sticking a little bit. But sometimes that happens on my end, but their end is good. So I'm looking at my end. I'm looking at what they're seeing now, and it looks like they're seeing you just fine. So as
Okay,
long as I'm hearing you, I'll just keep rolling because they
okay,
can
no
see.
worries.
All right.
If
So it's probably
if
in.
anything, I can just switch to another network or something.
No, that's good. That's good for now. I don't necessarily like. I can just glance back because I'm also viewing the show, like I'm monitoring the show,
Yeah,
so I can see that it's looking good, and I can always glance back and forth if necessary. All right. So, Anthony, welcome to the show. It's really good to have you on. Like I said at the start. I think you have a very interesting story. I've wanted to do this interview for quite some time, but my schedule was just not permitting me. So you probably must be saying, but Jill not seeing me, man, for me to, for to interview me. This was a long time coming.
yeah, yeah, definitely. It makes sense. I mean, I've been aware of like the good stuff you've been doing for a while. Like you interviewed a buddy of mine, Edward Collins, maybe a few months back, and that was maybe one of the shows I enjoyed the most. So yeah, I was happy to jump on when you offered.
Wonderful. And it's really good to have you on. I know you started this business, Shop DM, a little while back. First of all, how's business?
It's good. I mean, it's growing. Like it's definitely better now than it was maybe about 6 months ago. So it's growing steadily, and we really are kind of like at a point where, yeah, actually, I'd say the last 6 months has been the fastest growth we've had in the whole 5 years we've been doing this. But that comes with different things, and doing business in Dominica is always like it's always like challenging. Like there's always some things that are like but yeah, it's generally pretty good. Generally pretty good, and I'll be happy to tell you about any specific parts.
That's wonderful to hear. Because a lot of businesses will tell you, oh well, business might not be great, or they're struggling a little bit. Like they have all different things to say. But I'm happy to hear that business has been good for you. And then you just give me a second. Let me just see if I can fix this. Ah. Um, just trying to make sure that I can, because I'm not seeing you now. So,
Oh, you're
but I'm
not
hearing
seeing me
you,
now.
but I'm not seeing you. Um, and I'm just wanting to make sure that the audience can see you because I'm not seeing you at all. Do, 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 do.
Let me see if I.
Okay. Well, they can see you. It's just me that can't see you. I don't know why. They can see you and I just can't see you. So I just have to rely on my monitor in order to see you. I guess it's on my end. I don't know. I don't know why it's causing that. Technology be technology and we will just let's see. I think you just joined again. But it's funny that you're joining and I'm not seeing you at all. So I just find it there we
Oh,
go. There we go.
is this better?
Yes, yes. I can see you now.
It's a lot
That's
better on
better.
my side too. So
Yeah, that's a lot better. Oh my god. I was like, am I gonna have to do this like going back and forth like this? Yeah. But that's wonderful. Wonderful that we got you on.
it's a
So
tiny bit.
say that again.
No, no, like it's pretty good on my side now, but it's kind of going in and out. It's sticking every now and then, but yeah, it's definitely better for me too. So we can go
Okay.
forward.
All right, cool. Well, we know the internet messes around sometimes. So we're gonna roll with the punches and we're gonna hope for the best.
Yeah,
And if the internet is
yeah.
messing up, we jump out, we jump back on, we do what we gotta do, right? We keep it moving,
That's what we gotta do.
right?
Yeah,
So
no
I
worries.
mean, you're in technology world, so you understand all too perfectly what can and cannot happen, and when things go completely wrong and it's just not working out like you anticipated. So I
Yeah,
think we'll be good, right?
absolutely, absolutely. I'm used to this.
Wonderful. Wonderful. First of all, Anthony, tell us a little bit about you. Tell us a little bit about your background in terms of where you grow up or where you grew up, and probably a little bit about your parents.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so I mean, I grew up. I've been living. My parents moved to Castle Comfort when I was really young. Before that, they're both from Marigot and Wesley, but the so northeast. But when I was born, they were living in Goodwill, and then we moved to Castle Comfort. I basically lived there my whole life until I left Dominica in 2014. So I've just been around Roseau, but like the Northeast has always been, the place that you would go at Christmas, on weekends and so on, and like there's that kind of just connection to. I mean, Dominica is not like Roseau is not like an urban, like like a metropolis or something that connects you, disconnects you from the earth that much, but it still feels different in the countryside, and when you're around your grandparents and you go to the beach and so on. So that was always a big part of growing up. But yeah, I grew up around Roseau, went to convent prep, went to grammar school, went to state college, uh, worked in NBD. Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of years there. So you can tell me what you want me to go into,
Yeah, well,
but I
well,
just
I,
grew up
I mean,
around.
I was waiting to see just how far you're gonna go for me to stop you, because
Yeah, yeah,
we're not fast tracking this. No, no, no,
yeah, yeah,
no fast tracking. We want to take it slow, nice and slow, like Usher says. All right. So okay, so you mentioned that you went to convent prep. What would your teachers say you were, like that the type of student? If I had to go back and ask your convent prep teachers, who was this little Anthony? What was he like? What would they probably say?
yeah. Definitely definitely a troublesome child, teasing people, dancing in front of the class. Like, yeah, I think I was pretty much like an extrovert the whole, like, quite a lot when I was younger, the whole time. So that's what they would, like I was one of those kids that always had, on the report card, like, Anthony's a smart child, but he talks too much. I think that that summarizes it like a lot. Yeah.
I'm just monitoring you on the other end just to make sure you're coming out clearly. Um, but I'm surprised to hear that you were a troublesome child because I first met you when you were at National Bank, and
Yeah.
um, and I don't know if you even remember that, but you just seemed very quiet and composed. So you just didn't seem like you would have been one that would fall in the bracket of troublesome child. I mean, troublesome child for me probably every day, twice on Sunday, but you just never, you just, you just, you just, were
I
you
mean,
hiding?
it depends on the part. I mean, I personally think it's silly that we we want kids to go to school and then just be like saying nothing and don't interact with their peers all day. But that's the thing. That's like I've always been a very social person, so that never worked for me. So not troublesome in terms of like vandalism or fighting or anything, but yeah, I guess just troublesome in terms of having fun and like having relationships with my peers. Like even if that isn't necessarily what the teacher wanted us to do at that time, you know.
Wow. What were some of your favorite subjects?
Yeah, favorite subjects. I guess maths was always really easy for me. Everything to do with grammar, writing. Like I started reading when I was really young, so yeah, I guess those two. But I don't. Across like pre college schooling, I would say my favorite subject would be like computer science. I got into computer science because I was into games, and I figured out that's how I could actually go ahead and make them. So that's actually what got me into programming.
Mm.
And yeah,
You
but
start tracking
that's not
again.
something. Yeah, I know, but like I'm trying to think, and I'm thinking, well, in primary school, what would have been, what would you like? I think it was really just friends and, um, like the subjects come and go, and you generally just do them, and yeah, maths,
Did,
English, whatever.
did you play any sports? Ooh, we lost him. Don't know why that happened because technology is technology in. Like I told you guys,
Okay, I think I'm back.
you are back, but I still cannot see you for
Oh,
whatever
really?
reason.
I see you clearly, though.
Let me try that again.
Really?
All right, you're back. You're back.
But
Okay. Yes, guys, apologies again. This is what happens. Technology. There's nothing we can do about it. We can't fight it. We just have to roll with the punches. So, you were telling us if you played any sports in primary school.
I've never been good at sports. That's the thing. I've never been. Yeah, it's something I came to terms with after a while, but I've just never been. I've always been the guy who's been either reading or on his Game Boy. Never been good at sports. Yeah, so not at school. Outside of school, I got into karate, and that's like maybe the one exception.
Hmm.
But at school, absolutely, yeah, not really.
And then you went to high school. You mentioned you went to SMA. Is that what you?
No, DGS, grammar school.
Yes, DGS. Sorry, I saw I heard SMA. I don't know why. So tell us a little bit about your days at grammar school.
Man, grammar school. Grammar school like in retrospect, I'm really happy I went to grammar school.
Why?
Yeah, because it was. I feel like grammar school is why I'm connected to Dominicans and I understand Dominicans and like that's kind of a little weird to say, but the thing is like you can if you go through let's say convent prep, convent high as a girl, convent prep, convent high, maybe you go to college, you might not interact with you might interact with pretty much the same people in the same economic class. Um, they might be yeah, especially if you do something like what's there's this other one like in Czech, but yeah,
Orion.
no, like Orion, yeah, exactly. If you like jump between schools, or the other way around, if you go like go to school, then you go to DGS, you might have your same friends. So
Hmm.
actually, what happened is when I left convent prep, almost 95% of my friends went to SMA or Convent High, and then I was forced to like make a whole new friend group, and they were people from completely different backgrounds, and frankly, like some of them were from like less well-off backgrounds, and that was pretty challenging at the time because yeah, they bullied me a lot.
You are a bougie little kid.
No, not at all. But like, we're fine, you know. To put it another way, I never had to think of like, is there gonna be a meal when I get home, you know?
Right.
And there was some people that had to think about that in grammar school. And actually, that's extreme. I think it's extremely important to be connected to as much of the society as you can. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
think that is one of the big strengths Dominica has over somewhere like the States. It's just there's so little kind of economic disconnection that everybody interacts with everybody, and that was a big way. So yeah, like my friends are from all over. Yeah, that I think that's a big part of why I feel really, really connected to Dominica.
That's a really good
Yeah,
observation. Like I truly appreciate you bringing that up. Because most people just think that, oh, everybody, children go to school and it's going to be a breeze once you make sure, because here you are having difficulty connecting with people at school when all your meals are taken care of, right?
yeah,
And there might be kids who at school who have no meals taken care of, but they're just fine making friends and in being able to interact because there's that different they share the same or a similar story with each other, right? where
yeah.
where they are more on the less, I don't even know if I want to use that word, fortunate,
They have some things harder,
right? Things
Yeah,
that, yeah, right, things are harder, because I don't think they're less fortunate. I just think
sure.
things are just a bit tougher. So
Yeah.
thanks for correcting me on that. So when did you really start making friends, and what was that like? Or did you ever make friends?
Yeah, like I said, like that's I've been a really, really social kid my whole time through, so that came very easily to me the whole time around. Like I'm still connected to my friends from convent prep even, but like yeah, like in a short time I made a new friend group when I went to grammar school, and yeah, those friend groups are it's interesting because they've always been completely separate. So like you might go to carnival with some, and then I don't know, like some of them you would just go to their homes and play video games. But I've always been someone that just assumes that when I talk to someone they're gonna like me, so I just interact with people. But I think some of the some of the guys I went to grab.
Oops. I don't know, guys. Tonight is having a tonight's internet is just having a time of its own. The internet is having a time of its own. Okay, guys. We apologize. We appreciate you being here. I really want you guys to hear this guy's story. I really hope that you can interact with him. But his internet looked like it dropped again, and he got bumped off. So hopefully he logs back in, and we're able to get back on and continue with the show. Um, just just join.
That's wild.
I don't know what's going on.
Is it me or is it
It's you. It's on your end because mine is fine.
really?
My internet is
Ah,
internet in.
let me try. It only started disconnected when I went to my phone. Let me try going back to the router. It
Okay.
might disconnect again. Okay.
So I will. What I'll do is I'll talk. I'll reach out to the people who are commenting just to chat with them, and you can go ahead and reset. Okay. All right. So guys, I noticed that we have Rosen is on. We have Tessa on LinkedIn. Good evening to you. I see you. Thank you very much for joining. Yes, great. Okay, I can see you good.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Are you hearing me okay? You hear me okay? Are you there? Okay, I can't hear him. We're having a bit of an issue, and I hope that we can resolve it so we can continue. Um, this happens. This happens sometimes. I'm just looking at my internet and it's it's full blast. So it's definitely not on my on my end, or else you would have been disconnected from me.
Yeah,
Um, okay, you're back, right? You can see me, okay?
I can see you clearly. Sorry for all these problems, man.
I mean, it is what it is. What are we gonna do now? We can't beat ourselves up, no? Yeah. All right. So before you dropped off, we were talking a little bit about what were we talking about? I just
We're talking about grammar school. We're
grammar
talking
school.
about my experience there.
Right. So we talk about your friends and tell us tell get us back into the swing of things. Tell us a little bit about your some of the closest, your bestest friends that you made at grammar school.
In primary school?
Yeah.
Wow, okay, okay. um, yeah, sorry, Jael, you still there?
I am.
Okay. Yeah, so in primary school, wow. So I can think of a few guys, like I was pretty close to this guy, Kun Tuse, um, Karim Pinard. These are guys, I mean, every person I mentioned, Adiva Prince, all of these people I actually grew up with them. Like they started at the same year. I mean, I guess that's not a unique experience, but it's just interesting to like reflect on that because, I've known these people for going on 30 years now.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I was pretty close to a bunch of them. And we just hang out every day. Like, we're still in touch. Like, that's the most beautiful thing about Dominica is, you still interact with these people.
Hmm.
Some you kind of they went in you kind of did get more distance between you. I got a lot of distance between me and, like I said, a lot of those friends, male and female, just because I went to a different school, but like that didn't mean we stopped interacting. It just meant we didn't hang out every day. Yeah.
I'm interested to know. You mentioned your friend group and how you still friends with them to this day.
Yeah.
What role did they have in getting you into? First of all, how did you start playing video games? Because I have a son who plays too much video games, and like if he's going to end up like you, I'm all for it. But right now, I've had it. Tell me a little
Yeah.
bit about your friend group and your you getting involved in playing video games. Which kind of is what really sparked your interest in computer science?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I was born in 1991. So one of the big phenomenons in when I was a small child was Pokemon. It's still something I love. Like I still, like I joke about that with my girlfriend. But yeah. So one of the things that we did every day is we played with Pokemon cards, and like well, like most Caribbean people, I have family that is based in the U.S.
Hmm.
So one, those cousins, but they're older, so they're kind of like aunts. So I have a cousin called Joanne Thomas. She might be listening. Um, but she bought a Game Boy for me when I was maybe 6 or 7. So like, yeah, I basically I was on that.
That changed your life.
Yeah, I was on that every waking hour, and it wasn't just me. Like that's also something that we would do as friends. We would play our Game Boys. You couldn't have it at school officially, but we would bring it in the afternoons. We would talk about it in the at break time. So that was like almost an obsession as a little child, and that is something that you have so much time as a kid. So You asked about managing it. My parents managed it by telling me I could only play, I think, in the afternoons after I did my homework and on weekends or something. But anyway, like even if we weren't playing, we were thinking about it, we were talking about it, and I really got into those Game Boy games. Um, I wouldn't say you should bet that you're that everyone who's playing video games will end up being a software engineer, but for sure that was like my biggest motivation. I got so into it that I wanted to make the games, and that's really,
What about it really got you into it
I
to
mean,
want to
you
become a software engineer?
you don't think of it as a child. You just like what you like. Like as an adult, I've tried to reflect on that and try to like find out why I'm so into these sort of games where you can have some kind of progression. I think it's just I like the idea of I think I like the model wherein you can progress. You put in energy, you put in effort, and then you get to the next level. Or it's something that you can control. In the real world, um, it's not that simple. There might be there you might have a handicap. There might be actors working against you. You might be in a system that makes things difficult. Like sometimes Dominica feels like that, but you might be in a system that makes things difficult. But in these games, it's all kind of the model doesn't include any of the complicating factors. It's just about your efforts, and then that
That that
I
is
think
such an interesting analogy.
Yeah, I think that makes it addicting because you know if you put like 2 hours in here, I don't know, your Pikachu is gonna be whatever higher level.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's something I like. That wasn't the only thing. I just like the games and I like the social elements and so on. But I've over my life I've kind of found these kind of RPG games where you go up levels and so on. I found them pretty addicting even into my adulthood. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I mean, that is so interesting what you just said about, you know, how games are like the model that it's built on, like you get ahead based on how much work you put in by merit. Society, it'd be great, eh? If society was like that.
I know that'd be that'd be amazing. it
Wow.
is it is like that to some extent, but the games are a massive simplification. Yeah.
Hmm. So, at what point did you decide that this was something that you wanted to consider as a possible profession, or look to software engineering?
Yeah. So I've told this story a few times because I think it's useful for guiding people on their own career paths. But um, for me, it really came together. Like when you go to four form, you have to choose. So I was recently talking to some students at Wesley High School, um, and the thing is, when you're presented with that choice, hey, what are you going to focus on? You're going to focus on computer science, sciences, business, whatever. You're actually you're actually asking the child to start walking down their career path. Because if you don't do sciences at that point, you probably can't do sciences at college. And then if you wanted to be a doctor, then that whole path is away from you. Um, so it's really interesting. I think that's something that we should really make clear to kids that, like, yeah, like, you're there, with those choices, you're starting on your career path. For me, when I was presented with that choice, I was actually probably one of the more fortunate people in my age group because all of this interest in gaming had made that just a natural thing to me. So I was really just presented with those choices, and
Mm.
I chose, well, what do I need to do to actually do these things? And somewhere along the path, like I decided I want to actually make the games. I remember in grammar school, like with my close friend group there. Those are the guys I'm really really close to still. Um, like we had this name called Black Star Entertainment or something like that. Like because I'm pretty dark, so like there were all these nicknames for me around black. and like I just felt like the key thing is at that point I'd already decided that I wanted to have a software business, but it hadn't all come together. And then once you actually have set down a goal, then it's just working backwards. That's a lot easier than like working forwards towards something where you don't know what you're leading to. So it was more like, oh, how do I build these games? I learn how to program. How do I program? I go to computer science class. I choose computer science. I choose IT. I choose other sciences to support it. And it was pretty much the same thing at college. Like it was working backwards from what do I need to do now if I'm gonna have a software company. Yeah.
That is interesting that you say that, because just 2 days ago or a day ago, I got an email from the school that I need to now help my son pick out his subjects that he's going to be doing.
Yeah.
And yes, you mentioned that it is such an integral part of your career path, you know? But how do you really know what you really want to do
That's a
at
good question.
at 13 and 14? You know what I mean? Like, I find that is like so much pressure to force a child in that instant to pick a path that they want to go. You know, like, I'm gonna now have to have a talk with my son and try and pick his brain. I mean, I kind of sort of know what he loves, but not just because he loves it doesn't mean he wants to probably pursue it.
Yeah.
You know, like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So actually, I in that same thing where I did, where I was guiding the Wesley High School girls, um, what I introduced them to is this ikigai concept. Is a Japanese thing. Have you heard of it before?
No, I
Ikigai.
haven't.
Yeah, so basically, it's you can look it up. It just or your viewers as well. It just kind of says you want to consider multiple factors. So it's like a Venn diagram thing, and there's what you love, there's what you can get paid for, there's what you think the world needs, and there's another one, um, and what's I love? What you're good at, yeah. So basically, and the idea is like with these four Venn diagrams coming together, what's in the center is like what you should do. So obviously there's not a 13-year-old on earth that is going to like fill a Venn diagram like this, like not, exhaustively. But I think the key thing there is to make sure that some elements of these four things come in. What do you love? What are you good at? What can you get paid for? What does the world need? Right? Like, so in my case, it's like I loved games. Um, I was good at logic, math, so that meant I was a good candidate to make games. This was in the 90s, so it was the best time in the world to get into computer science, right? Like, so that's something I could get paid for. And I think actually for a long time it was trying to figure out what the world needed, and that's kind of what brought me to tech entrepreneurship here, trying to take on problems with my tech skills. So, but I don't think it's something you figure out at once. I think the key thing is just to make sure that um, it's not just like one element of the Venn diagram that's pulling you forward, or even worse, none of it at all. Because like what a lot of parents would do is they will tell their children, "Oh, you have to become a doctor, engineer, or lawyer," right? Like that's like the last generation type of thinking because they're
Wow.
thinking purely about financial security, and they're thinking, well, in this economy, those are like there's only a handful of professions that you're gonna suddenly
Right.
be financially stable in. But like that's like even if you want to just put it into the diagram, that's only what can you get paid for, right? And I think over like growing up, I've seen a bunch of friends or like really intelligent people kind of have struggles, mental health struggles, turn their lives around, even and we're just 30, right? Um,
Mm.
because the path they were on was only, to put it one way, it was only influenced by one out of these four elements. So I think even just trying to mix the what you can get paid for with what your son loves is already, doubly as good.
Thank you very much, Anthony, for that advice. I think I am definitely going to look into it and I'm going to speak with him And I think whoa, I've learned something new tonight, and you've definitely helped me, or helped me figure out what I'm gonna say to him, or how I'm going to relate to him, or if I'm going to agree with everything that he wants to do.
Yeah.
Definitely, you've definitely helped a lot. Um, so you decided that you wanted to get into software engineering. Um, when did you decide that you were gonna? Because you mentioned that you worked for National Bank. You did get into banking you did a brief stint in banking, and that is where we first met. But what really made you want to leave and go and study, and even where you chose to study? What were some of the factors that drew you to where you would eventually study, and what you'd eventually do?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, so for me, um, yeah, so I think unlike a lot of people, just this origin story, this kind of me deciding maybe when I was like 10 or so that I would have a software company eventually, like that's been a really big guiding light through my decision making. So when I went to the bank, I was at the bank, but um, but I pretty quickly started doing a bachelor's in computer science by distance. So I was working and studying at the same time. Um, and before I go further, I also want to say my parents, I haven't mentioned my parents in this, but my parents have given me incredible guidance the entire time. My mom and my dad, different types of guidance. I remember distinctly my dad told me, okay, great, you got into the bank, but you can't just be sitting down there, right? Like, you need to be investing in yourself, you need to be getting on to the next thing. So I've always had my parents outside. My sister, she's incredibly intelligent. She was kind of, pushing the goalposts, so we're always trying to keep up with each other. But anyway, not going into too much detail on this, but um, a few things motivated me to begin studying within the first 4 months of joining the bank. So I started a computer science with the University of London, a degree, bachelor's in computing and information systems with the University of London. And what happened is, while I was studying, I was getting these skills, and because I was also working, I was seeing how they could be applied in the workplace. So that was a really, really interesting and important 4 year stint. And by the end of the 4 years, I was fairly confident that I should use these skills to start my first business, and I did. So I started this business called Tropical Software Solutions, and then it wasn't going very well. So because it wasn't going very well, I I figured like what I was lacking was additional knowledge, and that's actually what made me want to go start pursuing my masters. Yeah.
So you decided that you're doing your masters, you're picking a place. So tell us a little bit about that, and how that actually, like, how did that step influence your approach to your business as well as to technology?
Just for clarification, how did I choose the university, or
Yes, like how did you go about determining like what you were gonna do, where you were gonna do it, and then because you could have, sometimes people start their bachelor's in one thing and they go to something else for their
yeah,
masters. Like
yeah.
what was the process like for you, and then how did that like that experience influence your approach? In terms of, because you said you started a business and obviously it wasn't working, and then you realized, bruh, I need to go and do my masters. Like, I need to know more. Like, I'm not ready to be doing this just like that, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that was one element. Basically, what happened is we were trying to. The first business was like a tech consultancy, Tropical Software Solutions. It was a tech consultancy. We were trying to. By at that point, I'd kind of gotten, like I was already trying to apply my tech skills to society. So I was trying to improve Dominica's economy with my tech skills. And I didn't know much. So the thought in my head was if we make businesses more efficient, they will be better, which is a really naive thought. But I figured that I could use my software engineering to make their processes more efficient. Um, the biggest thing that kind of pushed me um, towards a master's in computer science was I I realized I couldn't build the things I wanted to build. So I had all these ideas in my head. I would see these systems and these solutions, and they would be based on things I could see in other parts of the world, and I would want to build them, but I just didn't know how. Like, how do you go from idea blank, like air in front of you, to a website where you can do ordering from Astafans or something, right? Like, how do you bridge that? And even though I'd been taught these software engineering concepts, I just didn't know how to do it. So I figured that I would learn this at the next level. So that's actually what pushed me towards just pursuing a master's in computer science. So as you know, I ended up going to Oxford to do the computer science masters, but Oxford wasn't my first choice. It wasn't the first thing I thought of. Not like in a listing, it wasn't my first choice. I looked at a few universities and I applied to Edinburgh, the University of Edinburgh, and actually got in there. And I applied to Oxford as well. And very interestingly, and another big twist of fate uh, that was, that's been really beneficial to me. When I was applying, they told me that there was this dual master's program that I might be eligible for, where you would do both a master's in computer science and an MBA at Oxford. And I was like, oh, well, that sounds great. And there would be a scholarship that would cover at least some of it, potentially all of it. So I figured, hey, why not? And I applied for it as well. And I actually ended up getting it. So that's
Wow.
how I ended up, yeah, that's how I ended up doing a dual master's at Oxford. Yeah.
Wow, that is wonderful. So you really have brains, eh?
Uh, there's some in there.
Okay, so you complete your masters, you and then what happened next for you?
Yeah. So additional information is this whole dual scholarship thing. It wasn't just like a general scholarship. It was particularly by this foundation, and what they wanted to do is they wanted to make impact in developing countries or places in the world with problems to solve. And their thesis was the way they would do that is they would empower local actors with with these credentials and these connections to help them make more change where they were, right? So I was chosen because I was already trying to make a change within Dominica. So that actually became a very big part of, I guess that was encouraging that thinking as well. And it was something as well as at the university, I was around other people like myself that were doing similar things in other parts of the world, Cameroon, Tajikistan, the States, etc. So yeah, it just became normal to think about having social impact businesses and doing business and positively impacting the society at the same time, right? Like, so I give this background just to say that framing stayed with me the entire time I was overseas, and and therefore my intention the entire time was to come back. So with that knowledge in mind, I chose courses that prepared me to, as best as I could think of, to come back. I chose employment opportunities that prepared me as best as I could imagine to return. Um, yeah, so I can jump into any part of them, but I might have gone a bit off track there.
I absolutely love that about your story, Anthony. I'm not gonna lie, because a lot of times people think that people go to study and they want to throw a big stone behind them and they want to stay in another man's country and probably get the best or the highest paying job and probably help their family that they left
Yeah,
behind, probably eventually sponsor their family to move to join them. That is what we expect, or that is what society expects,
it's so
right,
sad.
to
It's so sad.
happen. But there are a lot of people who really just want the opportunity to learn so that they can come back and contribute.
Yeah.
Like they just want to learn. And I love that when you said that you picked courses that aligned with what you would eventually want to implement when you return. Like I share the same sentiments as you. Like I was literally picking like I did a lot of like I did an entire tourism course. And I'm not like, just so that I had an idea of, you know, like the tourism
Yeah,
sphere,
because it's such a big part of our economy. Yeah. Yeah.
right, because I wanted to understand that. And I did a bit of, a lot of what I did. I have a minor in politics, right? I was always picking things that I felt would I could analyze, I could utilize, I could use better, or I could implement it
Yeah.
back in my country. And I really, that really resonates with me, because there are not many people who do that. A lot of people, that I feel like that is like intention. Like you really, your intent is to utilize an opportunity,
Yeah.
but not necessarily to feed off of the entire experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your intent is to, the opportunity comes, I'm going to take it, I'm going to do what I need to do with it, and then I'm going to use
Get
it.
what I need to get from it. Yeah.
Right, which is, I absolutely love. I love that about you. And I know I liked you, but now I love, that was what your ultimate goal always was. Because as a software engineer with an MBA and a master's and all of that, you could be hired by any major corporation in the world and make $500,000 in a year.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm aware.
Right? Like
Yeah.
I don't think people understand that. And to come on Dominica and launch Shop DM and then get so much guay and so much pushback and so much of everything that comes with being in a small island developing state. It's not just
Yeah.
Dominica, right? um you're just like, why am I doing this? Like, and a huge part, I mean, you say why you're doing this, but your heart knows why you're doing this,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
I love that. I absolutely love that. I'm interested to know about Scape Technologies.
Okay. Nice. So Scape is the first place I worked in London. So after I left, I finished the MBA in September 2017,
Mhm.
and after like maybe 2 or 3 weeks of applying, I ended up joining Scape. So Scape was this really, really ambitious startup in London. So it's basically, there's Silicon Valley in the US, and all these other Western countries are trying to have their own Silicon Valley. The UK has a Silicon Roundabout in London. And basically, but the thing is, it's just another tech hub. You have lots of tech companies. They're working on the co-working spaces. Everybody thinks they're gonna change the world. There's these large global companies with branches there like Google, etc. And Scape was one of them. So Scape wanted to replace GPS. So the GPS that we use, the global positioning system. Scape developed a system where you would, so GPS works with satellites. Basically, if you can get signals from a few satellites, just mathematically with geometry, it can pinpoint where you are in the world, and that's how GPS works. Um, Now it has problems in places with tall buildings or tall mountains and all sorts of stuff. So Scape was they designed a system where you would get GPS readings, but then you would link it to images. So right now, everyone's kind of very excited about AI and machine learning, but actually, the real machine learning, this has more been a consumer level machine. ChatGPT is more of a consumer level machine learning innovation, where it's something that has been, it's like a product that now the society can consume, and obviously they're consuming it, voraciously. But the real kind of infrastructural breakthroughs in that same machine learning behind ChatGPT, they happened while I was at school. So in 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017 with neural networks. And those same neural networks, so before it gets to the customers, the scientists know about it for years, right? And those same neural networks were used by scientists within Scape. What they were doing is they would, that's when computers got the ability to understand images. So they were basically using the understanding of images to use to replace GPS. And the way you would do it is you would get a GPS point of here, you would take a photo with your phone of here, and then if the person has like a video, or if a video is on like a self-driving car, for example, and that image frame comes in from that self-driving car's video, then it will link it to the GPS point. So in that way, it wouldn't need a GPS signal. It would just match one image against the other, and it would know this is where you are at this exact point in Jordan. So that was Skip's whole technology. Facebook found it very exciting because it's they basically use that same technology in their VR.
That is what I was going to say.
Yeah, exactly. So they use that now in like their Quest stuff, etc. But that's why they ended up buying Skip and absorbing Skip into Facebook.
Wow.
Yeah.
And your role in all of this, like your role there was what primarily?
Yeah, so I am so with all machine learning, the difference between machine learning and the type of software I write every day is when I write, I'm basically writing a recipe, which is if you're baking a cake, you need flour, blah blah blah, whatever, mix the flour with the water, blah blah blah, put it in the oven. The way learning works is completely different. It's based on statistics. So instead, you just throw a whole bunch of data at one existing algorithm, and then that algorithm learns. So it's the same way a baby learns, right? A baby doesn't, you don't teach a baby how to like open a door by go up to the door, turn the handle, right? It sees you turning the handle and it learns, okay, this is how doors work. So for you, so because data is such a key part of any machine learning system, Skip needed a massive system to collect data from places all over the world. Because what they wanted is you would be driving through London, you'd be driving through New York, you'd be driving through through Bangkok or whatever, and you would be able to match visuals there to like videos that you're taking at that point to basically images that have been taken before, right? So
Mhm.
I built the systems to manage all of this data. And my skill isn't in the machine learning aspect, is in the operational systems aspect, the same stuff that I use in ShopDM. So basically, they did a project where they collected data from 100 cities across the world in 1 year, and I built all the systems to basically match the GPS points to the visuals, assign routes to drivers who would drive around these cities, taking photos to connect. We built a mobile app, and it connected to the cameras they would have on their backpack, so they could turn it on and off by just using the app. Then it connect the data, submit it to the database. So basically, I was all in the data collection side, and I was as the lead engineer in just building this platform that would collect all this data that they could then use to train the machine learning models. Yeah.
Wow. Like, bro, like you making me like see even why. Like why? And that probably leads me to the why. Why? I mean, you give all of this, and we've spoken about it. You know why we want to come back, but why, Anthony? Like,
Well, I mean, it's not like there's a lot of, I've spoken frankly about this in public as well, right? Like, um, it's very clear what the benefits and drawbacks are of being in Dominica versus like being in London, right? Like, if you're in London, you can make money easily. Aside from that, very few other things are better than being in Dominica, right? Like you're gonna be healthier here. You're gonna just physically, you're gonna be more connected to the people around you, to your family.
you have a point.
While I've been here, my grandmother's died in the last 5 years. My sister had some issues she went through, and she was back home. So it's been like for sometimes when things are really hard, I reflect and I'm like, oh man, like was this a mistake? But like every time it's very clearly, nope, this is where I've needed to be, because I'm close to my family, I'm close to my friends, and I'm doing something that is exciting and fulfilling every day, right? Like so, we're working on building up the economy, on creating routes for people to make more money. I mean, I put in my bio, we've like Dominican businesses have earned over $1 million because of the tech that we've built, right? So it's good. No, I'm definitely like keen on making money, right? But one of the things is, as a software engineer, you don't necessarily need to be in New York, in Singapore, in London. You can get contracts from there, so it hasn't been hard. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of opportunity costs. Like if I had just stayed in London working, I'd probably have saved up at least $1 million EC dollars by now. Um, but
Wow.
but hopefully my businesses will make that, without me slaving away in front of a computer over the next few years.
I love one important thing that you said. I love how you chose, community and family, over
Yeah,
money and over, not necessarily over money, but over a different experience, because it's not really over money, because money makes the world go round and we're going to need money.
yeah,
Whether you get have making a lot of it or a little of it, you're
yeah,
gonna need it. But I respect so much the fact that it was so important for you to be present with your family. You saw the importance of that. And not a lot of young people see that. They think that they can pursue this sense of what they deem happiness, right? And or they can chase their dreams and then leave everybody behind, and then you hear somebody got sick, and all of a sudden you're
yeah,
like, oh my God, I didn't realize that person was so sick, because the person dies.
yeah.
And I
And you
just,
can't
I
get
don't
them
know.
back. Yeah,
I don't know. I love what you represent. Like the fact that, like, so many of the things you say, I know will resonate with a lot of people, but it'll also be a lot of aha moments and a lot of, introspect moments. Like you like look within yourself and see, is that really what you want to do? You really want to leave and for a big stone and say, I'm not coming back, or do you want to be around your family and you want to grow, see your parents grow old, and that sort of thing that is so important. But it's not just seeing your parents grow old, it's also having children and having people help you raise your children, instead
absolutely.
of instead of a creche or a daycare where it's very impersonal, where you pick up and drop off and that's it, the end, right?
Yeah,
I love that. I absolutely love that. So you decided to launch Shop DM. Tell us a little bit about some of the challenges that you face setting up and how you were able to overcome those.
yeah, absolutely. The challenges. I can talk about this for a whole other episode, but yeah. So the first thing about ShopDM is it's not my business. It's a business that me and my co-founder started, Gandhi Robin. I don't think he's here, but so Gandhi's actually a guy I went to grammar school with. And Gandhi has had a completely, again, this is the kind of thing where like being connected to people from all different backgrounds has really formed my life a lot. So Gandhi has a completely different background. He didn't go to college, he went straight into business after grammar school, and he's been in Dominica doing different types of business. The last one was like a seafood distribution business to restaurants and hotels around the island, right? But basically, what happened is I came back in April 2020. It was COVID, people couldn't shop, and it was fairly obvious to me that what we needed, the way this was being solved all around the world, was with e commerce. So I started working on an e-commerce platform. And then Gandhi and I met up and it just worked, it just happened. So Gandhi does the logistics, the merchant management, I do the coding, the kind of we work together on the strategic thinking, that sort of stuff. But We've now been doing this, if you want to count from April 1st, 2020 is when I wrote the first lines of code. So it's almost exactly 5 years since then. Um, if you want to talk about the challenges, man, okay. But to summarize, the challenges for ShopDM are the same challenges. I would say there are two general types of challenges, right? The first one is infrastructural, and the second one is, I almost want to say, cultural. So on the infrastructural side, basically, when you start a business, you think of the core parts of that business. So the analogy I like to use are like a taxi company. So if I tell you, Jael, let's start a taxi company, you're like, okay, bam, I have some money saved up. What are we gonna need to buy? The first thing you would think of course, is a car, right? But I
Mhm.
use the example that the key thing, the first thing you need for a taxi company is a road, not a car. But it's something that's external to the business, but a completely key input without which the business cannot exist, right? You cannot run a taxi service if there's no road cut through the forest. You just can't. In a lot of similar ways, we've had some really challenging infrastructural issues in ShopDM. The biggest one was actually payment processing. So obviously,
Yes, I remember that. I remember, like, I think you were with Youth Business Trust. You were with an organization, and I was interviewing, or I was around, and I remember you speaking about,
payment
you know,
processing.
the payment. Oh, actually, no, I was actually working with you to get a company on board with you. That's what it was. And that was one of the challenges. I recall that so vividly.
Yeah, that was a massive challenge. We didn't really solve our payment processing challenge until like near the end of 2023. So we'd been in operation for like, going on 4 years before we actually solved payment processing. So just think of
Wow.
that, right? Like the way you make money in our type of business is someone goes online, they have their card, they spend $100. Part of that $100 is a fee for you, and that's how you make money. But it took us almost 4 years to just get that simplified and sorted in a way that, like, if I had started that business in London, it would have been solved after like a week. It's not a challenge. You just use one of the existing solutions. And I'm gonna jump ahead really quickly to plug it, but like that's actually why we've recently launched a payment processing part of our business, just to
Yeah.
make sure that no one has to ever deal with that problem again.
You
But
know,
yeah,
I first learned about it. I went to pay at a location, and they're like, "Oh, you can pay through Shop
the
DM." I'm
shop,
like,
yeah,
"Huh?"
yeah,
I was like, "You can pay through Shop DM?" They're like, "Yeah." And she was trying to explain to me, but it was very late, and I was kind of tired, so I was like,
Jesus,
"Just
I
do what we."
understand.
But tell us a little bit about that. Like, we're on a roll.
Yeah, I mean, well, do you want me to jump into that, or do you want me
Jump
to
into
speak?
it. Why not? You're already there.
Yeah, sure. So basically, this sentence I use is, you cannot, the difference between a blog and a news site is payment processing, right? You cannot, a news company, a news business is payment processing. You cannot have business online unless you can accept payments online. And what, there's been two parts of the problem here. The first one is that these American companies and European companies that you think of, so whether it's Amazon or whether it's Stripe or, you know, there might be platforms like Amazon, Grubhub, Uber, or they might be the processing itself, like Block, Stripe. What's that one people like to do the bank transfers with? But but they don't serve Dominicans, right? All of
Right.
these companies, they tell you the same thing. They tell you we serve the world, but then when you look at the list, they serve America, they serve the countries in the European Union, and perhaps they serve Japan and Australia. So if you want to start an online business, you just can't. Like there is another way to do it, which is the way we've done it. But generally, the main way that you start, like the Uber for dogs, is you integrate something like Stripe. But Stripe will just tell you, we don't serve Dominican businesses. What they tell you to do is they tell you, if you really want to do this, you have to register an American company, even though you're operating in Dominica, and you have to pay American taxes, and you have to maintain an American company and deal with their tax system, and then you can take the payments there and you can wire it to Dominica. So that is, for instance, how, like, for instance, quick delivery used to handle it. We have a very close relationship with quick and Shadi, and yeah, that's how they had to handle it, because you just couldn't accept payments. So the one part of the problem is these international companies, largely American companies, they don't serve us. The other way that you can sort of payment processing is by building integrations with the local banks. But we quickly realized that a lot of the local banks, like for instance, one of those that shut down, I approached them in the early stage of ShopDM, and they treat payment processing like it's a loan. So they approve you based on their perception of risk and your whether it's chargeback risk or fraud risk, and also, whether you have good business prospects. So it's a whole sort of approval process, almost like you're getting a loan, whereas a white guy in London just signs up for Stripe and gets going, you know? Um, and then there's also other challenges locally where you often need to do a technical integration, which again was nothing for me because I'm a professional software engineer, but that's a big, expensive, potentially risky, dangerous integration for you. So what we've done is basically we did build everything locally, but we've now packaged it into a product that is as available, as easily available as Stripe, as PayPal, etc. But with competitive rates, and we're really blurring the lines between what's payment processing, what's e-commerce. You're actually gonna see this, but I'll give a quick sneak peek to your an advanced view. But one
Sure.
of the things we're gonna make possible soon is ordering. So you'll be able to order from different restaurants in Roseau, just like you can order on ShopDM and have it sent to you. And that's because we've offered a sort of half payment processing, half e-commerce offering to some of the restaurants. And yeah, it's we're gonna, if you think it's exciting now, it's gonna get even more exciting over the next 6 months. Yeah.
Wow. That is so impressive, Anthony. But it's even more so impressive that you it took you 4 years, but you didn't give up because
Oh
you could
man.
Chupulsa, I done.
Sorry.
You could have said Chupulsa, I'm done.
Yeah, trust me. No, I'm not gonna pretend I didn't want to at various points. I mean, yeah, Dominica, make sure you really want it. Yeah, it makes sure you really want it. Yeah, but the other parts of it is I've had a lot of support, right? Like, so, support from my girlfriend, my partner I moved back with, my family, the same family that I'm here to support. They also support me, the broader society. I mean, we're one of the few companies that's actually raised investment. So Dominicans, diasporans, locals have actually invested in our company. So all these things has made it possible for me to be here doing this. It's been in a lot of ways a community effort. Yeah.
That is absolutely wonderful. I love to hear that. Like I really find this such an inspiring story. Like, I mean, everybody's story is inspiring, but it's just it's like it's you're performing it as an act of love, like a selfless act of love, a labor of love, because you're looking at ways in which you can connect people to products, but now you're looking at ways in which you can connect people to food. And obviously, I don't know if I would have had the patience to wait 4 years. Like, I ain't kidding you. Like, well, it's not
It's been
waiting for four
brutal.
years, we're working towards it, right?
Yeah, it's been brutal. Honestly, like, I was talking about this with my girlfriend just like either over the weekend or last weekend. We were talking about how, like, something people don't get is like just how much of a mental health challenge it is, even to do this kind of thing. Like, when you're just investing. I mean, to start a startup, you're just investing, and it's just not working, not working, not working, not working, or not working enough, and then you keep going and you re-strategize and you re-strategize, and trust me, it's by far the hardest thing I've ever done. It's compared to this, like the work I did at Oxford or the work I built for these guys in London and so on. That's nothing compared to what I've been doing here in Dominica.
Wow, that is wonderful. I mean, how does your shop DM pay um like how has it been received so far? Especially because we know that like you I mean you reiterated how digital payment adoption was like so slow. You know,
Yeah,
like I like just recently like I could use my card on Canadian sites. Like they would not even take my Dominican card, you know, like until just recently. You know,
yeah.
how has Shop DM Pay been received so far?
It's been received very well. Like, so we launched. So ShopDM, the e-commerce marketplace, we launched in 2020. We launched ShopDM Pay last September. So that's just about like six,
6 months,
7 months,
7 months.
and we have 150 merchants signed up on ShopDM Pay, and like that's probably on a date. I'm sure someone signed up today. Um, and the beauty of ShopDM Pay is whereas ShopDM we're restricted to supermarkets and manufacturers, but with ShopDM Pay it's taxis, it's restaurants, it's hairdressers, masseurs, exporters. It's everybody. It's literally everybody.
Okay,
Um,
so let me just get something because I want to understand this, and I don't just want to dilly dally over it. I want to understand it, right?
yeah,
So when I listen to what you're saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, correct me if I'm talking a bunch of bullshit. Um, Guide me. So you mentioned taxi drivers. So the other day, my sister was an ATM trying to show a couple who came in on the cruise ship how to use the ATM because they needed to take out money in the ATM to pay
if it
a
have
tax.
money, if it have money.
Right? No, but it was like so this was I'll tell you what their dilemma was. They were just like, we don't want easy currency, right? We
Yeah,
have no
you're
use
just
for it
passing through. Yeah,
if we have because we cannot take out exactly what he wants for the drive. We have to take out more than that,
yeah,
right? So when we take that out, now we're left with the money that, and we're going back on the ship. We just want to pay him so we can go back on the ship, and that is an issue for them.
yeah.
Does Shop DM solve that problem?
Absolutely. That is the problem that ShopDM solves.
Jeez, like you were talking to me, and that scenario just instantly came to mind.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Don't worry, people will get it over time, but the businesses already get it because they have these problems every day.
Anthony, this is amazing.
Thank you.
Like you, like why you take so long? Why you didn't call me and tell me I want to come on the show? Well, I guess nothing happens before it's time, right? This is like
Yeah.
really phenomenal. Like how people don't know about like how everybody
Well,
not talking about this.
it's a question I ask myself too, but basically, so what we for the in-person payments, what we have is QR codes. So you know these kind of square barcodes. So you would
So
have seen
Sade
them.
was the one who was telling me about it, and I got lost in the conversation because
Oh,
it was
I see
really
my business partner in there with Shop DMP. Yeah, so Gandhi's here. Gandhi's live. He's locked in. But yeah, so myself and Gandhi, and largely Gandhi, what we'll do is we'll go approach like that taxi person and ask them, hey, do you have a problem with some of your clients? Do you lose business because your clients want to pay with card and you can't accept the payment, right? Like either
but
because
every business person should get on that. Like I don't even see it's like a no-brainer.
yeah, they should. They're
Like
getting on. They're getting on one by one. But and then once they do go ahead, they're like, yes, like I just had this happen to me today. Then guys like, all right, cool, don't worry, we're gonna set you up. We accept all the AML, KYC information, make sure we're compliant. And then we just literally, usually within like 24, 48 hours, they will be set up. They'll have like a QR code in that taxi. So the people can just scan it with their phone. It takes them to a payment page. They put in their card details and they pay. That's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that is like you can use that with any card.
You can use that with any Visa or MasterCard. Yeah. You can be in Canada,
Wow.
UK, Australia, whatever. You can pay. Like, so the real thing we're doing here, I mean, like, so this is where my thinking has gone from, like, as a young child and even post NBD thinking about efficiency and whatever, to like, what is Dominica's problem right now? Dominica's problem right now is simple. Our economy is too small. To us, it looks like there aren't enough jobs, right?
We need more migrants. We need people to move.
We need a lot of things, but if you simplify it, it's that we need money to come into the economy. So our economy is currently set up to send money out. Like, you go to Asafant, you go to the gas station, all of that stuff is imported. So really, when you buy it, the money is going out, right? The ways we bring money in right now, the main way is tourism. But then look at all of the friction you were just describing when that money in that tourist account wants to come into Dominica. So we want to simplify it, make it extremely easy to bring the money into Dominica. And also, like, for instance, a big part of Shop DMP is event handling tickets. So with Shop DMP, it's like there's the payments, and then we've built events on it. We've built ordering with restaurants. We've built scheduling, all sorts of stuff. But, like, again, it's the same thing with the events, right? We just had an event. Someone signed up, and in the first day, they did like $5,000, $6,000 of ticket sales, and like a lot of that is diasporan money that's like now flowing into Dominica. So it's just like, in a variety of ways, we're trying to take on that problem and make it as simple. What I keep in my mind is, whatever a white British person can do in London, the black Dominicans should be able to do in Dominica with the exact same level of ease, right? It shouldn't, if for them it's like a few clicking on a website, it shouldn't be a 3-month loan process for us. Yeah.
Wow, that is amazing. I mean, obviously, that would lead me to my next question: cybersecurity. Because when you think about cards and putting in your numbers and putting all of these things, that is a growing concern for a lot of folks. You know, people hacking, people doing all of these things. How do you guys ensure that it is safe transactions? The transactions are safe for all users.
Great question. So yeah, there's a few different elements when you want to talk about security, but the main thing to say is that we can't have card details stolen from us because we don't have any card details. And what I mean by that is, when you go onto ShopDM or ShopDM Pay, I've put a lot of effort into making it seem like you're putting your card details into our website, but you're actually putting your card details into the bank's website that is inside our website. So we don't go anywhere near to the card details. We don't process it, we don't store it, we don't transmit it. It's a technique that allows you to have the integration without any of the risk. Obviously, there's other elements.
Anthony, this is wild. What are you talking about? Like, you sound like you're talking some foreign language to me. I'm like, this is freaking wild.
Yeah. So I mean, it's all done.
If something happens to my brother, if something happens to your card, it's not us, it's the bank.
Yeah. I mean, we completely outsource the card handling. Like, so like, that is the benefit in me being like, like, knowing what I'm doing, right? So I've done it according to industry standards. But so that's how we manage card details. There are other risks involved. Like, there is, like, there's always going to be risk around managing your account details, so, the password, etc. That's more for the merchants. There's also risks, like, there's different types of attacks you can do online, right? Like, you can, I mean, we're not having a cybersecurity thing, but basically we've built it according to industry standards, so PCI DSS compliance for the banking information, as well as OWASP compliance for the web information. And it's not perfect. I'm never gonna be the person that's gonna say, oh, this cannot be, whatever. But I think it's pretty secure. It's pretty good.
Let me talk to the viewers a little bit. Have you guys shared the live? Because everybody in Dominica needs to know that. Like every business in Dominica needs to sign up. Like I don't see it is absolutely a no-brainer. I see people who are in the diaspora saying, like for example, Gail is saying you have completely changed the landscape for card payments in Dominica. This was such a headache, right? Um, Tara is saying holy bleep bleep, and that's why he came home. like it's just, I mean, you're blowing my mind. So I can imagine that you're blowing people's mind, and I like I haven't heard a lot about this. Like it's almost been like it's like a secret, and it should not be a secret. Everybody needs to know, like that this
I, I love
exists.
your energy.
But it's the truth. Like it's not. I'm not even trying to pull your freaking toes. It's like how difficult it is to like utilize to do payments in Dominica for certain things. Like
Yeah,
and I'm somebody like I don't like to carry cash around.
yeah,
Like I just don't like to carry cash around. So any
yeah.
opportunity I can get to be cashless, to just use my card.
Oh, Jael? Oh, Jael?
Oops, I don't know what happened.
Can you hear
We
me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear
Right.
me?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly. I
Yeah,
can
we
see you as
dropped
well.
off for a second. I don't know. We both dropped off actually. So I think it was on both our ends now.
Must have been.
Yeah, that's wild. That is wild that you have this and you're in Dominica. Like this is something that you need to have a shop solutions. Like everyone.
Actually, that is the idea. Like, I mean, the thing is, we're growing really fast right now, and we fully intend on, like, basically this time next year, our intention is, at least half or 60% of that whole problem you're describing just doesn't exist because everybody.
You need to hit up the whole freaking OECS because money transfers within the OECS is very easy.
Yeah,
Like even transferring from one institution to another within the OECS has been so easy. Like
yeah,
I don't know who to thank, if I should thank the ECCB, but it really is easy. You
yeah,
can literally you can literally transfer the money today, and by this afternoon it's there. I mean, like they tell you 2 business days at
yeah,
most, but it's usually there within a couple of hours,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So because that is so much easier now, like and I feel like we've built a network as small island developing states who form part of the OECS, utilizing the same currency. Like I think this is going to be a game changer for every single one of them.
Yeah, I mean, we're very, very excited about that. But we like to kind of think about just what's the next step, right? Like, so we have these really grand pictures, and I can tell you what that grand picture is, but we like to think about, okay, and then what are we gonna do in the next 30 days? What are we gonna do in the next 3 months? Um, there is a possibility, if lots of things go pretty well, that we could be starting things in another OECS country next year, But
Hmm.
but there's a range of different things we need to work out, so we're just taking it one step at a time. But yeah, like I mean, these problems exist everywhere. I remember I was when I came back to Dominica, it was 2020 fine, but I remember being in Barbados because I was doing a contract and I had to stop in Barbados for 2 weeks with the World Bank, and we were at this place, this like just a community staying. We booked out this place, and like it was like three consultants there, but it was like 20, 15 minutes from town, and it was a $50 taxi to get to there. And I was like, what the hell? And I was like, well, can I just order food? Because because how can it cost me this much just to go to town? And no, I couldn't order food. I couldn't do anything online. So we ended up batching up, like, to just move as one, so we would cut the cost. But like, yeah, I think I was just in St. Lucia. It's the same thing. Like, none of these places have online infrastructure, so I don't see why we can't do it. We could definitely be the ones who do it, you know. But that's like that's that's in like a year at least, man.
Get your team in check and make it happen.
Yeah,
Make
absolutely.
it happen. I think you need a really good team. I mean, you can't just rely on just you and Mr. Robin
Gandhi.
Gandhi. You need to have people in marketing, people who can network, to get people to, because it's just like, imagine the amount of people that probably will just say, okay, I want to sign up for this, because it
Yeah,
just sounds so much easier. Like, why would you not?
yeah,
Right?
yeah,
We have people now who utilize mobile banking, right?
yeah,
And they utilize mobile banking. You have to sit there and put in the person's um code, and I mean, sometimes you don't even want to come back there. You just pass him, right?
most person. Yeah,
And like, I don't want to store that information in my in my pair, right? I just pass in. I just want to be able
you
to
just
pay
want to
for it.
pay. You just want to pay.
I just
And
want to pay,
you're talking about more banking. I mean, you have an NBD bank account, right? Think of a tourist, you know?
right?
Yeah,
Oh my God. That is so, I could talk to you forever, but we cannot do that. No.
we cannot do that.
No, we cannot do that. I could talk to you about this forever, because it's very,
I can come back. I can come back. Like, let me know. Let me know when.
well, well, now that you see, there was always an open invitation. I think I tell you that, but I don't think you listened. You were just like, oh, Jael, this probably just saying that because she's trying to be nice, right? Whenever you're ready, like, just let me know. Hey, Jael, I'd like to come back,
Yeah,
because I feel like you've not really just you barely even shared your story. You've just shared like your journey through developing this company, or through, like, it really is what brought you to that stage,
yeah,
and there's so many other facets of your story, I'm sure, like you mentioned your partner, and and those things, that's like a part two or a part three, you know but I'm interested to know, like what sort of advice would you give for young Caribbean professionals, who, like yourself, would consider returning home to start a business?
yeah. Good question. Oh yeah, I see Gandhi posted shout out Alan. So yeah, it's the three of us. It's Alan. Alan is actually Gandhi's brother. Alan, Gandhi, and myself. But yeah, so shout out Alan Robin and shout out Gandhi Robin. But what would I tell? What advice would I give an entrepreneur? Okay, yeah, I would tell them it's worth doing, right? Like, if somebody like me stays in London, I have to be very clear on what I'm doing, right? I am building up London, right? If I'm in New York, I'm building up New York. I'm building up the US. And look at the situation we're in globally today. There's Trump in the US. There's all this geopolitical nonsense that's going on. But if we focus on ourselves, the issue is the imbalance between where we are and where they are. But the truth is, often it's our people that are pushing them up. We should be pushing ourselves up to put ourselves on more equal footing with other parts of the world. And that's, I mean, I know that's a very lofty, high level thing, but I think if you're someone who can work at Apple, you should think of, should I be putting all of my time, all of my money, all of my donations, everything in the US, or should more or some of that go to my country, right? Because most of us, we want to retire here. Like, when you come back, the roads are gonna be shit. You can't spend with your card, right? Like,
And you want to complain when you spent all your money there.
and you want to complain, but your entire life you were building up the US and then you left in the end, right? So I would say it's worth
Yo, that is like solid.
I would say it's worth building your country up. Okay, but that's the high level direction why you want to do it. Then I would tell that person it is hard. It is bleeping hard. I would use expletives on your show, but trust me, I'm not gonna pretend this has not been the most difficult thing as I have ever done. Um, but if you think you can navigate it and you want to give it a shot, give it a shot, right? You're not going to be able to do it quickly. It's going to take time. So, one thing you need to figure out the finances. Like, I came back with about 100,000 EC of savings. And most of that I've invested in one way or the other into Shopee. Um, so it's gonna take a lot of time. It's gonna take a lot of money. The biggest, like, if I have to get into the operational ones, I'm gonna say plan for the long haul. Anything you're doing is gonna take at least 2 years if it happens lightning fast. It might happen in 4 or 5 years, like for myself. Um, Biggest general tip: team up if you can. If you can team up, team up. If it wasn't for Gandhi, there is no way I would be in Dominica still, right? Like, because you just can't be in two places at once and you cannot be good at everything, right? Like,
Right.
you can have a master's degree from Oxford and great, you're good at tech.
Yeah.
What we do is more than tech, right? Like, Gandhi supports these merchants, gets these merchants. While I'm here talking to you, he might be signing up right now, signing up someone right now. Like, so what if you can get, what I say for business partners is you want someone who you're completely aligned with on vision and mission, but you'll have a different set of skills so that you can bring, like, I bring tech, Gandhi brings sales and logistics. And three, you want someone you can get along with. In a few ways, it's almost like it's not terribly different from having a romantic partner in a way, because you're not going to spend so much effing time together. So you need to be able to vibe with the person. But if you can find somebody that meets those three criteria, team up, because your chances of succeeding, they go times like 10 at least. And I don't mean like as an employee and as a manager. So, like I said, both Gani and I own Shop them. We're owners. And that's very different from like I own the company and he's like an employee or something like that, a manager or something like that. Um, so team up, plan for the long haul. Part of planning for the long haul is figuring out how you're going to finance the company. There's only two general ways to finance companies, right? Like, you either subsidize it in one way through grants or there's only two ways of, yeah. So if you're going to financing, it's going to come from something like grants or savings or investment, or it's going to be debt. It's one of those two things. I generally say stay away from debt unless like there's very few businesses it makes sense for you to start with debt. I mean, if we had taken loans for Shop DM, I think that would also have killed it by now. But like I said, I personally invested in it. We raised like $150,000 or so. We're raising more money like in the next few months. So it's like, you have to know how to do it, but the blood, the equivalent, like, money is to a business as blood is to a human, right? Like, if there's no money turning through it, the business dies. So you need to figure out how it's going to be financed. And yeah, like, I would say don't the fourth piece of advice. So one, it's worth doing. Two, team up. Three, think of how you're going to finance it and plan for years. And four, if possible at all, try to figure out how you can pull money into Dominica. Don't depend on the Dominican domestic market. Link your business to the external market. One of the things, like, I keep telling you things I say, right? Like, one of the other things I say is, like, Dominica doesn't have 70,000 people or 50,000 people, whatever the number is. Dominica has 250,000 people, and 4/5 of those people live outside the island, right? Like, and that's how you think of it. So when we do financial projections, we're not thinking, how can we get John, who goes to Runners, to buy and shop them? Because truth is that will not sustain us. We're a volume business. We think of strategies where oh, if we can get this events person to sell tickets to diasporans, then that's going to tap into the persons in Canada and US, right? Like, and it's not just for sales, it's also, if you can ship products that way, like, I mean, as an example of other businesses, you could be a service provider and offering like your accountancy service, your software services to to the diaspora. That is like a massive market. Obviously, there are people outside the diaspora. There's just the world, right? Like,
Mhm.
but when we think, it's the Caribbean has this very weird, I think it's almost globally unique ratio of the number of people outside versus the number of people inside. And generally, if you take one person from the diaspora and you take one person from Dominica, the person in the diaspora has more spending power. They are more used to spending money on online platforms, or you know they're not in a recession mindset, whereas like a local person might be. So I would say think of your market as just definitely don't think of your market as 50,000 Dominican people, because all you're doing is you're turning the money around. And again, for your survival and the country's survival, we need to get money in.
Yo, Anthony, this has probably been one of my top interviews ever. Like you've
Thank you.
probably been one of my top guests, and it's not for viewers, but the amount of knowledge that you have. But it's not just the knowledge; it's the fact that you're inspiring me, and I'm not easily moved. Like
I'm
I'm
happy
not,
to hear that. I'm happy
not
to hear that.
I am not easily impressed, and I am just completely blown away. Someone said, Jael, when you bounce up with him in town or wherever, give him a solid handshake for me, please. Like I don't even understand how you're not being utilized more. Not not even just as a software engineer and all your shop DM pay, but as a speaker, like the fact that you like the things that you've said, so many things you've said that were at the back of my head, but I didn't know how to like I guess conceptualize it or like figure out what I was thinking. Like you brought it to the forefront. Like when you talk about when you're thinking about your clientele, don't think about just who's there. Like think about
Yeah,
because there's so many people outside. And even like
yeah,
okay, I'm on social media and I'm always like, okay, these are my, you look at your insights because these are technically my clients, these are the people,
yeah.
and I mean this you have taught me so much tonight. And like I'm you are definitely one of the top,
Thank you.
definitely one of the top.
Thank you, Jael.
Because it's not just coming up, it's not, because most people think like my platform is to come and run their mouth about their life, but I want to learn from your life, you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
want my audience to learn from your life, and you've taught us from your life experiences. Like we cannot say we didn't learn. I learned so many things tonight, right? This will probably be the only show I watch back because I want to get like every little thing that you said. Like when you spoke about, uh, how to get my son, how to like get my son into figuring out his subjects. That is
Yeah,
something I learned. How to focus on, your client, where your clients are. That's another thing I learned. And I could just think of these two up top, but I'm sure there's at least three other things I learned, right? So I really, really want to commend you on what you're doing, and
thank you.
I think you need to be like one of those TED Talk. You need to be one of those. You need your TED Talk. You do because the way you speak, it's so easy to understand. Because tech people, I don't understand them. Like I
No,
just
I'm not
don't
trying to be understood.
because they sound like they're saying, like Charlie Brown. That's all they sound like, right? I don't understand them, and you were able to keep this so simple for anybody to the point where I understood Shop DM pay in like seconds. Like based on you barely even explaining what it was about. So I really want to commend you and commend your parents and your family. Because you are underutilized. You are definitely underutilized. You need to. You need your own TED talk. Like I'm manifesting that for you. And if you want it, you can take it. If you don't want it, you can leave it on the ground. But you need to be on TED Talk. Like you have an amazing story. And if I ever get into a position where I could connect you to who I need to connect you, I'm gonna do it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Because I think your story is like you should be getting like grants like from all over the freaking world to implement this not just in Dominica but across the Caribbean. Like you don't have to, like oh my god. Anyways, I'm blah blahing. I'm blah blahing right now. I really really want to kind of get a sense of what next for you. Like what is next for you. I know we I didn't get it through half of the things in my head I wanted to ask you, but we're almost up to 2 hours, which is
Yeah,
considered a very long show. My show
we
is
gotta let them go.
we don't want to bore people out, right? I might be having a good time, but somebody might be saying, "But what started that now?
Yeah.
What's next for you?"
What's next? Yeah. So we want to. I think what's next for like a large part of my life is the business. Like this is something my girlfriend complains about. But I'd say one of the things that's next for us is by the end of this year, as long as our company is successful, like we want to make it so a very, very large part of Dominica is available online. Imagine if everything that you want to do, you can do it in seconds from your phone or your computer, right? Like whether it's ordering food, whether it's arranging something with a doctor, whether it's obviously we've already done that for your groceries, and yeah, I mean again, this is we're talking about this and we're talking about this and it's like it sounds like oh my god magic, but the truth is that's how it is in like the West, that's how it is in the US, that's how it is in London. So it's people like me that build it there, right? Like so what we want to do is we want to build that here and we ideally want to do a large part of that this year. um, and I would say the next thing beyond that over the next like 2 3 years is getting into other Caribbean countries because the truth is, no matter how you cut it, Dominica is small, even if you count it as 250 people, like, but what is the rest of the Caribbean, of the EC Union, and then what is the diaspora of that EC Union, So I think that's how the truth is. I'm seeing a possibility where this can be a multi $100 million company, right? Like, and for me, I don't like. I'm not like the Silicon Valley tech bros. It's not the valuations and the big numbers that motivate me, but that is really cool because for me, I thought that when I came back to the Caribbean, it would mean I wouldn't be able to build something that big, but actually I think we can build something that big. And if you look at companies like Digicel is like I think they're like $1 billion company, right? Like, but they operate in Latam, they operate in the Caribbean and parts of South America. So yeah, I think we can build a very big company if it goes that way. So that's the direction me. I think my business partner, I think Gandhi is more excited about that than me, but that's the direction we want to go in.
Tara says a follow-up in 6 months is necessary. Okay, we want to know what's going on in 6 months. Gail wants to know what about utility bill payments? Can that be done on Shop D and Pay?
Right now, no. We're thinking of adding top ups on there this year. But what we realized is there were a lot of people who were trying to do utility payments. There's Emja, there's Shopee, then a bunch of, Dominic, they got their portal. So we're like, well, looks like it's covered. So we're, for now, so we're just going to focus on everything else. Yeah,
Yes, yes.
yeah.
Wow. Anthony, I mean, it's been amazing speaking with you. I can tell
Thank you.
from the audience that people were learning a lot. People were impressed. I want to let you have the final say. There's lots more we could have touched on that we didn't even get to. My brain feels like because my brain is all over the place because I want to ask you so many questions, but we're going to be here until 11 o'clock. Um, so I think we need to pause. When I say pause, I'm not stop because normally my shows stop at the end. But like
Okay.
Tara says, a follow up is necessary. So
Absolutely.
we need to, and I want when another change occurs, that you can come and you can talk, and hopefully we have a
Absolutely.
better connection and all of those things, and you're able to share about the progress that you've made, and where it's leading to, and the importance. I don't think people understand, like, how this is changing the game, like how much of a game changer this is.
Yeah.
And I think that is why it is so important. It's not even one of those, like, you're not even doing one of those things where it's about making money only. It's about your community.
Yeah.
It's about empowering your community. It's about including your community. um you're gonna make the money, but so will your community. You know what I mean? so
Yeah.
so that is just, I mean, and you are benefiting. You are directly benefiting from the community,
Yeah.
while the community benefits from you.
Absolutely.
It's wild.
That,
Sorry, my
that's
brain is
what business. That's what business is supposed to be. Yeah.
like it is wild, and I really commend you and your team, Gandhi, and Alan. I see, big up Alan, whoever Alan is, and what you guys are doing, and I really want to commend you guys. And I want to give you the opportunity to have, should I say, final words or your farewell words for today?
Yeah. Well. Yeah, man. Sure. Yeah. So I think the biggest thing I want to leave with the audience is I'm just a Dominican guy who studied at grammar school and convent prep and was raised by um, Annie and David Edwards and Margaret and Wesley, right? And the reason I want to underscore that is I think the biggest thing we have to get past is this idea that if you're white or you're Arabic or you're Indian or Chinese or whatever, you can do certain things, and if you're Caribbean, you can do certain things and you can't do those things, or you can only do those things if you move to this person's country. The truth is, like, yeah, there are different challenges, like I mentioned the payment processing challenge, but I think that is what we need to be working on, right? Like, no, one of the things that has made me happiest recently is another tech company started. They're doing something almost like Airbnb, where they're letting people um, book stays at hotels on their own website they built, but they use us for payments. And the reason I like that so much, I mean, obviously we're benefiting, but the reason I like that so much is I know how difficult this was. That payment processing issue that took 4/5 of our time, it just didn't exist for him. But it didn't exist because of the work I've done, Gandhi's done, Alan's done, right? And we can do this in all these different areas. If we see something that we don't like, we can solve it. We don't
So
need a white person to solve it first. We don't need a Chinese person to solve it first. We don't need another Caribbean person to solve it first. We have our problems. We can solve our problems. We have the education to solve it. We have the skills to solve it. All we need to do is put our resources and our focuses on the problems and solve our problems. That's what I'd like to leave with your audience.
wow.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about when you're coming back next. I think that's where we'll leave this for tonight. Because this was really amazing. This was a really good conversation. I
Thank
think
you.
just picking your brain, is conversation, you know. And I'm utterly impressed with what the work that you've done and how you've persevered through this. Waiting for 4 years, or not really waiting, but working for 4 years, working towards this, and then seeing everything materialize, and being able to help people in the process. That is really, really inspiring, Anthony. And don't you ever let anybody tell you otherwise.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you
um,
very much.
I think you guys are doing an amazing work. I think what you're doing, you should really, people, like, I mean, people think the government building, government offices, government people should like they should tap into you because you could do so much more for the country if they're not already. That is, you could do so much more for a country, and people don't even understand the power of Dominicans and Dominicans that put them when they put their mind to do something. And Gil is like, he's so smart. Like we're all blown away. We just like you need a TED talk. Like you need to come on for
I
and
work
just
on it. I work on it. I
you
need
need
your
a
help
TED
for
talk. Seriously,
it.
yeah, you need it because you see people think a TED talk is coming on and running your mouth about what you can do or what amazing things that you've done or how you get to X, Y, and Z. But it really is not. It's how simple you are in terms of your delivery that people are able to be captivated by it and make changes on their life just by it. You
Yeah,
know, like you could say three things, and out of these three things, I can see how it benefits my life. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So and that is what I look for in a TED talk. If I'm viewing a TED talk, and I really wish you all the best. In whatever you guys are planning for the future, and hopefully we can get you back on here sometime very soon.
Absolutely, Joe. Absolutely. Like whenever you're ready.
It was wonderful
Thank you.
having you on.
I'm sorry.
It was wonderful having you on.
It was wonderful being on. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for having me. And yeah, let's keep the connection going.
For
Stay
sure,
tight.
for sure. This interview to happen. Like we waited too long. Jeez.
Yeah, it
Jeez.
should have happened. It
Nothing
should have
happens
happened a
before
while back. But everything in time.
everything in time. Everything in time. Thanks, Anthony. Guys, wow, what an interview. Like, I don't know. Like his story to me, I was like, okay, he's gonna come and talk. And I was thinking, I was in my head about the fact that he's into tech. And I've had conversations with tech people, and after a certain point, I literally tune them out because they start using like all of these tech words and all of these things that, like, even if I understood them, but I don't even want to process them, right? So taking on this interview, and probably that was my own um, misjudgment of the individual in the sense of, I felt, and I didn't explicitly say that, so I cannot say that I was thinking that. It could have just been in my subconsciousness that I'm like, this tech guy is gonna come and talk tech to me, and I don't know if I want to entertain that. And look, like I literally had to run in because we've been talking for 2 hours, and I could probably stay here for another 2 hours, right? And I was completely blown away. That was not expected. Um, Great speaker, very intelligent. Oh my God. Like, we have some amazing people in Dominica and underutilized people in Dominica. Yeah, he needs to be on a TED Talk. Anybody watching? I know my LinkedIn people. You have the connections. Slide into Anthony's DMs. Let's make it happen. OMG. Like, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you very much. Those of you who shared the live. Thank you very much. If you have not shared the live, make sure you hit that share button before you hop off. Hit that share button before you hop off because somebody needs to know, right? Somebody else besides you need to know. We need to ensure that all businesses in Dominica get on Shop DMA. I mean, because why not? Because why not? They're not going to lose anything, but gain so much more. And I want to say thank you very much to all those of you who tuned in. I want to say thank you very much to my sponsors. Thank you very much to Heal and Go, who's now available at Fresh Markets. You can get all of the products, some of their products there, like the Revitalizing Scalp Treatment Oil. You can get the African Black Soap Shampoo, Gentle Makeup Remover, and so much more. And also want to say thank you very much to National Cooperative Credit Union. That's it, guys. Be back tomorrow, same times. Thanks again to Astapan. Right place, right price. See you guys tomorrow. Same time, same place, another amazing guest. Until such time, have a good night. Bye bye.
NCCU, your community financial partner, brings to you Beyond the Mortgage.
Affordable rates, affordable price. NCCU, everything nice. Go do a course, go take a trip. Beyond the mortgage, 246. You take the mortgage already. Don't make your pocket go empty. Beyond the mortgage, NCCU will keep you steady. You need to buy a new fridge. You want to purchase a steady. Get rid of medical bills and invest in the green energy. Beyond the mortgage, beyond the mortgage, beyond the mortgage. Everything nice. Beyond the mortgage, beyond the mortgage, beyond the mortgage. NCCU for life. 246, yes, 246. Wow, 246.
Beyond the Mortgage, 2% savings, 4% retirement solutions, loans available at 6%, and our special BTM line of credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Heal and Go is an all-natural hair care and skincare company founded in 2021 by our CEO, Jael Burney. Just a girl looking for natural products to enhance her hair and skin, Heal and Go was born. Heal and Go started with the Shea Rosemary Hair Moisturizer, the flagship item, which is every girl's dream of a moisture-locking, detangling hair dressing. This can be used when braiding the hair or twisting the hair. The African Black Soap Shampoo made with African Black Soap and Marshmallow Root is a deep cleansing shampoo. It is coupled also with the Aloe Vera Leave-In Conditioner, which is made of aloe vera, coconut oil, and it is the hydrating ingredient needed when keeping up a wash and go. Our next item is the Revitalizing Scalp Treatment, which is made of 13 different essential and carrier oils to enhance the scalp, help with scalp issues, and also help with hair growth. We added items like rose water to our line, and rose water can be used on the hair and on the skin. On the hair as a refresher and on the skin as an astringent or helping with makeup. Other items include the hair jelly, which helps with keeping the edges intact and keeping away frizz from the hair. We also have hydrating hair milk, which is like a moisturizer for the hair. And all these items can be found in bundles on our website, or they are also sold separately in different sizes to enhance your varying hair care needs. You can find our product at healandgo.com. We also carry a skincare line, as you see our face scrub, made of bicarbonate of soda, anise, raspberry extract, pineapple fruit extract, kaolin clay. We also have oil cleanser, which is made of tangerine oils, grapefruit oil, lemon oils, all to cleanse the skin and keep the skin looking glowing. We also have the face moisturizer, which is an added to our skincare line. It includes aloe vera juice, almond oils. We also have the scrub, and all of these can also be found in bundles on our website. You can buy them separately, you can buy them in bundles, you can make a gift set out of those to your loved ones. We have also included for the men, not forgetting them, the men's beard oil. Check out our website for all these products.